minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, here we go. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. A disclaimer as we go to air on this Friday. I'm out of sorts. I'm all out of sorts. Kevin the Medium's going to be joining us on what we call a Football Friday later on. Mike Davis from Las Vegas, from the Vegas Nighthawks. Hi. And Darren Moose DuPont to thrill his legions of fans. But as we are live on the Game Plus television network on this Friday, let's get Kevin in here from Galveston, Texas. Kev, I just got to throw this up and just say it's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. I feel like the teacher that didn't prepare his lesson, even though I'm entirely prepared. But I'm like, I can't. Why am I so riddled with anxiety over the damn Olympics? What the hell? How are you?
It's hockey. It's hockey, Rod. It's hockey. We're supposed to have anxiety. We're losing 2-1. This isn't right. Let's get it going. Holy, I got goosebumps.
Okay, that's two of us. I don't ever remember being I'm supposed to be ramping it down in my old age, not ramping it up, Kevin. And so, yes, it's live. Yeah, what do you got?
I think you've been hanging around with me. We've been talking too much, and this wholly rational fandom of mine is rubbing off on you.
Whatever it is. Okay, so it's a Football Friday. Those are the guests. Jeff in the Stamps fan says, what brings you to Galveston, Texas, Kevin? He's on vacation, okay? And I appreciate Kevin spending some time with us on his vacation. And again, this is going to air later. The game Canada-Finland will be over by the time a lot of people are watching this, or by the time it airs in Nevada. But that doesn't change the fact that in the Quick Six show topics, a spot in the gold medal game is on the line in two semifinals at the Olympics today in men's hockey. Canada taking on Finland, USA taking on Slovakia, Sidney Crosby not playing. So, you know what? Let's everybody welcome on in. Woosa. Yeah, on the YouTube chat, the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. Kevin, here's the thing. You and I have discussed this. It's 2026. This is a different era in media. It's a different era in the world. These live streams, I don't really understand why they're a thing yet. Because epic fail by NBC. They're not showing this semifinal live in America. It didn't start. They're airing it an hour-long delay. What is this, 1947? So thanks to Brent and Wellington. Yeah, go ahead.
We have it on USA Network here in Galveston, and it's showing live, so I don't understand why NBC would do that. It's bizarre.
Okay, I'll turn on my television and maybe I can get it on you. It doesn't matter. You and I are on the air now. There's a lot of people here that showed up to talk football, and trust me, this first segment goes by so fast. We're going to get into football in the next segment, but I'm having flashbacks because I'm sitting here watching the curling this morning. I want to say it was USA-Switzerland in a women's semifinal, and it reminded me of the Milestone Memorial Center in Saskatchewan back in 1985, yelling at the curlers, get off the ice! Or, to be honest, the figure skaters. We want to play. It's our time. Hey, hello.
Hello.
That was me this morning to get off the ice. So anyways, Canada's losing the semifinal, and I'll say this. I put on social media, Kev, that they need Connor Bedard. They need Bedard. They need a pure goal scorer. And, of course, then that triggered the avalanche of responses from people that, well, we need a goalie. We need this. We need that. We need your Florida Panthers players to step up. If Canada loses, and by the time a lot of people see this, we'll know whether they did or not. Everything's on the table, right? All the bitching, all the griping. Nobody can argue what people say.
And if they win, that all goes away. We've talked about this. How do you fix anything? Win. Win,
immediately.
win. It's
immediately
solves all the problems, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. I guess we'll wait and see how it all plays out. As I sit here, I'm streaming it on Peacock. Thank you to Brent, Wellington, Florida, for helping me out with that. In Canada, USA is taking on Slovakia in a semifinal later on in the day. This is a good time to ask you the poll question, how are you following the Olympics? And our business manager, Joe 747, came up with this. It was his questions. I said, I'm stumped. My mind is fried today. I broadcast international hockey and was not as upset or worked up as this. I don't get it. Anyway, I couldn't think of a poll question. So I said, give me a hand, Joe. And he goes, oh, how about this? How are you following the Olympics? TV, streaming, podcast, or other? What are you voting, Kev?
TV, streaming. Depends what
Can only
we're
vote
watching.
one.
We've had it. Okay, then we have to go with USA Network because that's what's been on our TV this whole time.
Well, 71% of respondents are saying they're following on television. So you know what? TV ain't dead, which, by the way, is a topic for a whole other time. But we all thought with the cord cutting and the podcasts and the streaming, the TV was good. It ain't dead, folks. And radio's not dead either. Just so you know, there's room for everybody in this perilous trade. I'm voting for television as well. I'm following the Olympics by TV. And today was the first day that I was mad, and I feel like I should be, because NBC was airing this hockey game an hour later. At least that's what it seemed to be to me. So anyways, that's the point. Number one, the big topic is the Olympics. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says this doesn't feel like a gold medal team right now. Well, no, but we're in the middle of a semifinal game, so it ain't over yet. So let me just roll into the second. Well, hey, by the way, what's grabbed you with other Olympic stuff? We got 2 minutes here. What's grabbed you?
Curling. I've been watching a lot of curling. Angela really likes curling, so we've been watching a lot of curling, and I'm actually getting into it to the point where I'm like, this might be something I want to do when as I retire, and something to hobby or a sport, if you want to call it. Is it a sport? I don't know. Sure, we'll call it a sport.
You go.
I just got millions.
Yeah,
I got millions of people mad at me because of that now, Rod. But yeah, no, I'm loving curling.
Listen, there's a lot of room for different opinions on a lot of things. I mean, I don't think rodeo is a sport. And you came from Calgary. A lot of people didn't like that in Calgary. I don't care. But it's against an animal. How is that a sport? You know, but with curling, you go out and try it and you tell me whether or not that's a sport. Like I would say golf. I could argue golf is not a sport. However, go try it. You know, it's a skill. Yeah, we'll say it's a sport. So yeah, Angela's from Saskatchewan. She has to like curling. It's on your health record there. If you're born in Saskatchewan, you have to like curling.
Yeah. So. We have a checklist we got to go through to become Saskatchewanians.
The one thing that stood out to me is that Norway is blowing everybody away in the medal count. Like, what the hell's going on in Norway? So we can talk about that, but I want to get into football. It's a Football Friday for those that aren't into hockey, and maybe it'll bring down my blood pressure when we come back, okay? 902-518-3033. Kev's with us from Galveston, Texas, and we'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live podcast, and WQVZ.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday. I'm hoping to get to some football at some point, but as I said with Kevin the Medium, who's going to be with us here in seconds from Galveston. Why do I keep saying Galveston? Galveston, Texas. I know the song by Glenn Campbell, but I said it's like a Friday with a teacher that didn't prepare his or her lesson. It's show and tell time. I did prepare a lesson, but everybody's talking about the Olympics. And by the way, Kev, here's what I want to get to with you. This guy, Jason Morgan, writes on Twitter, how is Canada, Finland not on NBC or USA right now? NBC has been an absolute woke joke and an abomination this entire Olympics. I just turned on the USA Network, and you are right. It is on live, even though the channel grid says it's not airing for like an hour delay. The networks, I feel, kind of botched. They kind of botched this Olympics. How do you agree or disagree?
I agree, because I looked as well, and it does show it's going to be an hour late. I felt bad because I disconnected my computer from the TV. So Angela's out there, and I'm like, let's see if we can get it. And we did. So that's the only way I was able to find it. I'm sure there's a lot of people like you going, what the hell?
Well, it's now live on USA. And for those that all dropped the $10.99 on Peacock, you can try and get your money back now. Welcome to broadcasting in 2026. John Ohm is watching in Winnipeg. He writes in, he says, hockey on Football Friday. Well, there's not a lot of football going on, but trust me, we will find it. But I just want to say this again. I'm going to be careful here. We're very blessed with the broadcast executives that we have at Game Plus Television. And obviously, that's Anthem Sports and Entertainment, our overlord in Canada, Game Plus in 33 states. And then the Gray Broadcasting Network in Nevada and all across the U.S. where we air there on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, Kev. But it's just like, I would think broadcasting the Olympics, kind of a big deal, right? Not easy. Probably not easy to do. Yeah. But it's like, if you can't pull that off, give it to somebody who can, is what I'm saying. Is it impossible? Is it that hard?
It's not. You wouldn't think it would be that hard. It's not like it's the first time this has been done. And I see in the comments, people are saying, are we really upset a U.S. network isn't showing a Canada hockey game? Yeah. If in fact, the way the grid was, the TV guide was showing it, there's a throwback, a TV guide. It's like, yes, that would be bad. The U.S. is notorious for not caring about any other nation but the U.S. and only showing U.S. sports during the Olympics. It's a thing. So, I'm down here. I wanted to watch it.
And by the way, it's Jeff, the Stamps fan, that's saying that. He goes, that is classic Canadian insecurity, folks. And I don't want to turn this into an argument, but it's like, Jeff, with 5 TSN channels, if for whatever reason your Calgary Stampeders weren't shown on one of them when they were playing Friday Night Football on the road, you'd be losing your mind. So please consider somebody other than yourself. And the fact that we would like to watch our country, Canada, play in a semifinal and it's not on, even though they said that it would be, that's why we're upset. So try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes if that's possible. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, U.S. ratings are probably the reason Canadian hockey is not shown live on a U.S. network. Yes and no, but again, we're sitting here talking about the Olympics, and it's the marquee event at the Olympics. The gold medal game on Sunday is the final event. They're not dumb. They knew that the NHLers were coming. I'm talking about the IOC. They built this all up as the marquee event of the Olympics. So whoever was going to be in a semifinal, Canada or not, was not scheduled to be shown live. You know what? The reason I think that they've switched it and they are now is because of the complaints that they got. I'm not joking. But anyways, go ahead.
I guarantee you there's very few people talking about hockey in Galveston on a normal basis. We went out for dinner last night to this place called Fishtails, right down across the street from Pleasure Pier. And guess what we heard? People talking about hockey. And I was like, they were all wrong. They didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't interject. I stayed calm, Rob. You would have been proud of me. But they were talking about the women's game. And I was like, interesting. This is Galveston. They probably don't know hockey. I mean, very few people, but there were 6 or 7 people sitting at the bar talking hockey, which I thought, that's cool. That is in Galveston, Texas, of all places.
Well, that's the great thing. It would be like Canadians talking NBA basketball. It's just not number one, but from time to time, it's like a tempest in a teapot. It rises up and it grabs everybody. And that's what hockey is in the U.S. right now. Okay, we're brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. If you're looking for a place to go for lunch, hit up Pump Jack's. They got the Canadian games on live. They'll be open Sunday morning for the gold medal game. Please, baby hockey Jesus, Canada will be in it. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Point 2 of the Quick Six Show topics. The Toronto Raptors are idle Friday night after taking a decisive 110-101 win over the Bulls in Chicago Thursday. Brandon Ingram led the charge with 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Raps next in action Sunday at Milwaukee. Point 3, we'll get to the CFL for the football fans. This is just a repeat of yesterday where we talked about this. There's still quality available. More than a week after the start of CFL free agency, over 250 players hit the open market February 10th. Many signed extensions with their current teams. Kev knew that we were going to talk about this today. And by the way, it is a football Friday. So it's this is what I want to keep this as Fridays all through the winter, is to talk football. And Mike Davis is coming up in hour 2. Yeah, he's from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team, but he worked in the CFL for, 7 seasons. He said he could talk about the UFL for days, CFL free agency. So that's coming up in hour 2. But in the last 24 hours, I see Jeff, the Stamps fan, wrote in here and said that Dominic Rhymes retired. There's really been no signings. We talked about Tavares Daniels being available, Brett Lawther, Richie Leone, McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Did you think any more about what I said about the BC Lions and how I didn't see them in a Grey Cup? I'm surprised they didn't do more improvements here in free agency.
When I said they didn't need to do much, it's because they signed most of their free agency prior to free agency. So they have their core. They're satisfied with their core. So am I. This is a team, and I will say it on air, this is a team that to beat this year. Coming into this season, the BC Lions are the team to beat. I know I'm an irrational fan, blah, blah, blah. But you look at the core, you look at who we have, this is going to be the team to beat. Even though the odds say we're third or fourth, with Montreal being number 1.
That's the betting odds or the power rankings?
Betting odds.
Okay. I have clearly... I'm not thinking about that on February the 20th. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And again, no topics off the table today, whatever you want. It's a Friday. The teacher didn't do his lesson, whatever you want to talk about. Kevin is sitting there in Galveston, Texas. I'm sitting here in South Florida. We're live on Game Plus Television. And For the live audience, we're in the intermission of the Canada-Finland game, Canada trailing 2-1 in a semifinal at the Olympics. So, yeah, Jeff got it right out of my mind. Right, I was thinking it too, Jeff. Kevin, you said that last year. We're both saying. Kevin says that every year the BC Lions are the team to beat. I didn't want to say it, but Jeff, the Stamps fan, said it.
Of course I'm going to say it. I'm a fan. It's not like I'm going to go, oh, no, they suck. They're not going to. Before the season, even the Vancouver Canucks, if you remember I remember you, it hurts me to say it. I remember you saying Vancouver was going to finish dead last. And I was like, you're nuts. They're going to finish in a playoff spot or just out of a playoff spot. And it was like, oh, he's wrong. I know he's wrong. My Vancouver Canucks are going to show me something this year. Yeah, I was wrong.
Can we go back? Can we go back and find the clip where I said the Vancouver Canucks would be dead last? Where are they in the standings today?
Yeah. We're gonna get that. We're finally gonna win that lottery.
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference here. Where I'll tell you this: I'm not a fan, and when I say I'm a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm a detached fan. Where if they're playing, I'm cheering for them, but I don't like. I can. You get the concept of detachment from our other careers and what we do, Kevin.
Yeah.
You and I, professionally, right? It's got nothing to do with sports. It has to do with life. But I don't want to be a fan. I don't want to be a fan because I want to be able to look at things objectively. And I know that I think you're late enough in the game that you're not changing now. We've had this discussion. You're not going to jump in onto the media horse and forget being a fan. I don't even know if you can.
I wish, and we talked about this, I wish I could watch a sporting event and not get emotionally involved in it. I can't do it. There's something in my brain that just won't let me just watch it for the fun of or enjoyment of it. I'm hugging pillows. I'm cursing. It's bad. I wish it was different. I'm 61. I ain't changing. Angela is slowly accepting the fact this is how I am.
Well, you know what's funny about that is, again, we say in the recovery world, Kevin and I do different things in that. I do addiction recovery. Kevin does, what do? You talk to dead people and coaching, and I don't even know. What do you tell people? Kevin's a medium.
You know what? Someone said it a couple of weeks back, 3 weeks ago, and they said, you're a therapist for the soul. And I went, ooh, I like that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So I'm a soul therapist.
Yeah. So, and Kevin works with me quite a bit. We did this week. And I do addiction recovery and mental health. It's a total different world, but the main thing is we're helping people. But one thing I say in my world is you can't schedule feelings, i.e., you never know how you're going to feel in a moment. So today, I don't like the fact that I was riddled with anxiety with Canada at the Olympics playing hockey. I'm kind of ashamed of myself. And the World Series, the Grey Cup, I was watching it with my friends in Wellington, Florida, and Brent was like, who are you? I'm jumping up and down, squeezing pillows, sweating, swearing. He's like, I've never seen this side of you. Which, Kev, you never seen that side of me. I haven't seen the Riders in the Grey Cup since 2013. So, anyways, by the way, we got plenty of time of this segment, but again, it's a Football Friday, and I promised we would talk football. I am a man of my word. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, it's the football offseason in Texas. That's the only reason hockey was being discussed. You got to understand something. Eric, have you lived anywhere but Vancouver? Because if you've ever been in Texas, there is no offseason. You've realized that, Kev.
Oh, I mean, just getting in an Uber or on the bus and you tell people where you're from and they're like, do you have football up there? Not what's the weather like? What, do you have football up there? It's football, and then more football.
Well, that's why, hey, this is not a problem. It took me a while to get it in my own mind, but I'm good now in that I was wearing a Rough Rider top in the gym today, running, and I never, ever get comments on, ever. They don't even know what it is in South Florida. One time I had a comment, and do you know why? It was Darian Durant's wife in my gym. She was like, I don't know if I ever told you that. This was like a year ago. She was like, I didn't know her. She came up and she's like, are you a Rider fan? I'm like, you know me. And she's like, well, why are you wearing a Rider top? I said, I used to work for him. And she goes, oh, so did my husband. I said, who's your husband? Darian. I'm like, there's only one.
There's only one.
No. So, yeah. So, anyways, the point. My point is, people, they know of the CFL. They don't specifically know of the teams here, but that's totally fine. Those that do like it a lot, and we'll continue talking about that when we come back. But how we got on this was there is no football off season here, and I'm interested to get your take on what the split is. Think about it in the break. We'll get to it when we come back. Of football fans in Galveston, Texas. I'm certain it's overwhelmingly Cowboys, but hang on to that thought. We'll be back, everybody. It is a Football Friday. 902-518-3033 is the text line. The YouTube chat is humming. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio. Again, 902-518-3033 is the text line number. We'll be right back after this.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back to a Football Friday, everybody. And trust me, I think we're going to keep this whole segment to football. Plus, they're in an intermission right now in the Canada-Finland Olympic hockey game semifinal. We're brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications in Hour 1. At Outlaw Communications, creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. We craft bold strategies, sharp leadership training, and content that makes people lean in and listen. Your comment about the Grey Cup betting odds has made people perk up and write in, Kev, so I'll get to that in a second. But you're sitting there in Galveston, Texas. Kirk is watching in Toronto. He writes in on Game Plus. He says, "Hi, Rod. A YouTuber who lives close to you, West Palm Beach, Florida, says Galveston is a dump." Listen, people from Florida think everywhere else is a dump. This is the most beautiful place that I've ever been in the world. Everybody here thinks, and frankly, I do too. I drive around every day, go, "Oh my God, it's the most beautiful place I've ever been." So they think everywhere else is a dump. Is Galveston a dump, Kev? I've never been.
No, it's a historic town. You get downtown Strand. They have renovated all their old buildings. It's literally a little bit of U.S. history that I bet you a lot of U.S. Citizens don't even know about. They're going back to 1839 in this city. It's an amazing, we've loved it. It's been a lot of fun. The weather hasn't been great, but it's been a lot of fun down here.
All Cowboys fans?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you can tell a local because they're all wearing their jackets. So you don't see a lot of jerseys, but you do see a lot of cowboy hats, like ball caps.
Right. Cowboy hat. I like that. My cowboy hat. I got a few of those. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he goes, "I think because I've spent enough time around so many fans of other teams like this show to where I can get detached and no longer get worked up when my teams lose. I can be happy for the fans of the other teams." I'm at that place. I don't feel like you are, Kev. When the Lions lose, you weren't happy for Rider fans. Probably not at all last year after the Western final.
You got to understand, my girlfriend is a Rider fan. And we just didn't talk about it. It was like I turned the radio off and we just didn't talk about it. I'm irrational. When Rod says I'm irrational, he's seen me watching a game. It's not just a game for me. I don't understand how I'm wired, but it's just not a game. But it's funny being down here, and I'll wear my BC Lions hat or have a shirt, BC Lions shirt, and people will be like, "Is that a college team?" And I'm like, "No, that's a CFL." What's that?
Right.
They have no idea. Not a clue.
Largely they don't. But speaking of that, and because we're in the Canadian hour of the program today on Game Plus Television across Canada and 33 states, Wayne in Victoria, British Columbia writes, and he says, "I don't understand how the betting odds work, but isn't it a little early to have betting odds for the Grey Cup?" Well, great question, Wayne, by the way, and thank you for tuning in every day. I appreciate you for that. Kevin knocked me off my stump when he said Montreal is the betting favorite. So I went and looked it up right now from Bet99. And just so you know, I don't get how this works. You can make a bet on if they're going to land on the moon today. One thing I've never understood is how you can now make bets during the game. How is that fair? When I grew up, it was always you had to have it in by kickoff or drop of the puck or first pitch. What the hell? So whatever. I don't bet. That makes me very safe. We actually have a laugh with that with my friends around here. They're like, "You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't gamble, you don't carouse. You're boring." I'm like, I'm very good with all of that. It's very safe. I'm a very safe person to be around in every regard. But, okay, so you said Montreal's number one, which, by the way, they are overwhelming betting favorites to win the Grey Cup. What the hell?
It's bizarre to me that Saskatchewan this early in the odds making, that Saskatchewan wouldn't be number one, or even, of course, being irrational, BC, given who they are. But Montreal is by far favored. And then am I right in saying Saskatchewan, BC? Did I remember that correctly?
Dude, yes. You didn't fry all the
Wow.
brain cells on that cruise you were on last week. Yeah, no, you got a good memory here. Yeah, exactly. What had you looking at the betting odds for the? I never even thought to. I didn't even know they'd be available.
You know what it was? It was coming on your show I had been away from social media for 2 weeks. So coming on your show, I had to catch up. So I went to my go-to, which is Gemini, and put it in and said, I'm going on the Rod Pedersen show. Give me some talking points. And that was one of the talking points that it came up with. So then I had to go down that rabbit hole, of course.
Well, God bless you for doing so. And by the way, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Kevin, if BC makes the Grey Cup, I have a ticket for you between the 50-yard lines. Clearly, he's not going to be there at McMahon Stadium if if the BC Lions make it. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, it's our time. Nathan Rourke. Well, there's no doubt. Before we just go down that BC Lions rabbit hole, here are your Grey Cup betting odds. And Kevin, don't be a spoiler. Kevin already knows. Number 1, Montreal. Number 2, Saskatchewan. Number 3, the BC Lions. Number 4, the Toronto Argonauts. Number 5, ye mighty horsemen, the Calgary Stampeders. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 6, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. What are you laughing at?
Because you had to count.
Yeah, sorry. 7, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Number 8, the Ottawa Red Blacks. And number 9, the Edmonton Elcamos. And by the way, a whole lot of thought I don't think's really gone in this. The top are the 2 teams right in the Grey Cup, and the bottom is largely what the standings were, except Hamilton finished first in the East last year, and they're picked to be finished 7th out of 9 teams this year. So that's not cool.
If you could actually bet on, and I bet you there's a site that you can, in what order teams would finish, I would bet that Edmonton will finish a lot higher than what they're predicting it being last. I think Edmonton's going to is going to compete for that 3rd spot this year, in my opinion. I think they're going to be decent. It'll be interesting to see what transpires early in the season.
By the way, I'm totally here for this Football Friday discussion of this because everybody else is watching the Olympic hockey. So this is the perfect time to have this discussion right here. Yeah, well, you have it on as well. But the other thing, well, I had this written in my notes. We don't have a lot of time left in this segment, but the United Football League, if you can believe, are opening training camps like today. It was yesterday or today. And I can't name one player in the league, not one. But what would you say if we had a little fun pick'em? And fans, you got to be honest and police yourselves and do it. We'll do a fun UFL pick'em. Why the hell not? With the league. I mean, I don't even know the teams, but we'll figure them out.
I was just going to say that. I don't even know one team. I couldn't, if you put me on the spot, I couldn't name one team right now.
I don't either. But the thing is, what doesn't take away from the fact the football people are big time into it. Like Mike Davis, who's coming up next hour from the Vegas Nighthawks. He goes, I could talk about the UFL for days. He's a personnel guy. He's a coach and GM. They probably could name every player in the league. I can't, but just for fun and because there's no other football playing in the spring, let's have a pick'em, Kev. I plan on you being here every Friday, so let's, for fun, do it. And then the viewers that are into it, because a lot of them are, they can make their picks too. Why not?
Let's do it. I'm in. I'll start doing some research.
Okay, why not? What else you got to do? I want to say it's Friday, March 27th is the kickoff. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I can name one player, Lorenzo Molden IV. Yes, the former CFLer from Ottawa who left the CFL to go down there. So, I mean, I guess we'll get more into it. I got a friend coaching in Corey Chamberlain. He's the defensive coordinator of the St. Louis somethings. I think they're the St. Louis Battlehawks. But I know
something.
Yeah, like I tell you what, last week we had the poll, will you be following the UFL? And it started out like 70% plus said no. But then that tweet started going around the UFL fan base, and it was the most voted on poll I think we've ever had. And it ended up like 67% of respondents said, yes, they will, because the UFL fans got behind it. So
Interesting.
what the hell? Yeah, we kind of pride ourselves on being different around here. I've been saying that my whole life about myself, so I'm not afraid to say that. So we can have a UFL pick 'em. Why the hell? Why not? Okay, Kev, travel safely. Enjoy the rest of the hockey game and your time in the great state.
Thank you. Next week, I will be back in the beautiful province of Saskatchewan, coming from my studio in Maple Creek,
where it's minus 26 today before the wind chill. Yeah. We'll be back. Everybody, it's you and me. Viewer takeover the rest of the way. We'll be right back here on a Football Friday on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, podcast, and WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday. It's an everything Friday. And as I promised you before the break, it's viewer takeover the rest of the way to the top of the hour with Kevin the Medium adjourning. But I feel like I could very easily sit here and talk for 17 minutes on my own about a variety of things. Listen, I'm going to tell you, it's a challenge that I have done before, being on live television when there's another event on another channel that's got the whole country in gripped. It was when was the World Cup of Hockey? 96 or 97? I want to say 96. I was hosting In the Huddle, the province-wide television program on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. My guest was Kevin Mason, backup quarterback, not the starter. They wouldn't send me the starter. They sent me the third-string quarterback to go live on the air while Canada was playing the USA in the final that year. It's like, the only call we got in an hour was a guy that called in and called our GM Al Ford, dropped an F-bomb. Oh, it was. Yeah. Here, we can get through this because I remember during COVID, remember that? There was no sports for 4 months. We're sitting here today going, we got too much sports going on. Back then, there was none. And I'm sure we were on Game Plus television by then. That was our first year on Game Plus TV. That was like 7 seasons ago now. Wild. 902-518-3033, the text line. Kirk in Toronto, good friend, writes in and says, a couple things regarding Kevin being in Galveston, Texas. And I said, what's the fan split there, even though I pretty much knew. Kirk goes, probably Texan fans, as Galveston is close to Houston. Go to Texas sometime. I mean, I love Texas. It's a great place. It reminds me of my home province of Saskatchewan almost to the letter, just with great weather, better weather. In the summer, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than Saskatchewan. That's why I go there. But I've been to Texas. It's all Cowboy fans. Even in Houston, it's mostly Cowboy fans. We can always relate this to our own lives. In Ottawa, why is this? It's not all Senators fans. It's split 3 ways. Leafs fans, Canadians fans, Senators fans. Because there was the fan base there before the other third team showed up. And by the way, yes, I do not have the game on. It's off. So thank you for those that are writing in on the live stream. Laverne in the Frontier City says Shea Theodore ties it up 2-2. 9:26 left in the third period. Canada, Finland, which is, by the way, another thing. I was just speaking with somebody about this morning. My life, like a lot of people, it's nothing special about me, but just navigating, going with the flow, reinventing yourself. We're sitting here kind of doing a live stream of the hockey game, even though I don't even have it on, trying to talk about Football Friday, which we're discussing NFL fan splits in Galveston, Texas. Hang on, everybody. We do have a lot of comments coming in. But when I talk about going with the flow, this morning, when this game faced off, and shout out, thank you, Rob in Las Vegas, who's watching. You see our ode to Vegas with the Raiders and Golden Knights stuff up on the wall. He's pointed out, too, that it's 2-2, Canada, Finland tied. NBC and their partner network, USA Network, didn't have this game live. So it reminded me, I just had flashbacks to 1985, Milestone, Saskatchewan. Basically, curling was on the ice here. USA, Switzerland in a semifinal at the Olympics. And when it's running over into the start of the hockey game, we're like, get off the ice, which we used to yell at the figure skaters because obviously we're going to play hockey on the curling ice, although one night we did. That didn't go over very well. But anyways, get off the ice. But while I was trying to find the start of the hockey game, all I could find on YouTube was Spittin' Chicklets was doing a live stream. Folks, trust me when I say I've never tuned in for any streaming live stream of a game in my life. I have briefly tuned in the Manning cast on Monday Night Football where Eli and Peyton bring on special guests during Monday Night Football. I can't do it. It's too distracting for me. I don't enjoy it. But today, Spittin' Chicklets is doing it, and here's what it is. 4 guys sitting on a couch at a house in Arizona watching the game with a camera on them. I'm like, this is what's passing for entertainment now? And, of course, Paul Bissonnette was one of them. Biznasty, our good friend. Like, I get it. He's the most popular figure in hockey commentating right now, Bissonnette. But I'm sitting there going, 4 hockey players sitting on a couch watching TV. My God, I guess we should have done it in the 90s and 2000s when I was doing it all the time. We could be billionaires now. They don't do anything different than you do. How is this so interesting? But the one thing I've realized is it caters to a demographic that I'm not part of. Harvey writes in, I don't quite understand this one. I think he means it. He's in Delta, BC, Vancouver area. I'm going to take this positively, but he writes in on the text line for Western Dodge, which, by the way, experienced the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. 902-518-3033. Harvey in Delta, BC writes in with regards to yesterday's guest, Greg Zahn. He goes, hey, Rod, tongue-in-cheek comment here. That's what tipped me off that he wasn't serious. He says, ask Greg Zahn about his managerial win-loss record. Not stellar. Below 400 in both the Mexican and Atlantic leagues. Just saying. Hopefully a different result in Kelowna this year with the kids. Regards, Harv in Delta, BC. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Welcome into our home, Greg, or any guest. Let's talk about how you sucked. Leave the question asking to me. Bob in Medicine Hat writes in, says, good morning, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat, watching your show and the game. There's so many of you doing this. Canada and Finland, tied 2-2. You have a great weekend. But I'll tell you what, Bob in Medicine Hat, I'll have a great weekend if Canada wins. As I said earlier with Kevin the Medium, you can't schedule feelings. I didn't expect to be this worked up. But that's why I turned the game off. It would be too distracting for me. Did Marchand just score? See, by the way, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in on the live stream. He goes, that type of thing seems very popular now. Hey, and I think it's going to remain very popular. I just really won't be tuning in for it. I'm glad you brought that up. Moose is going to be with us next hour. You may see him, depending on the availability, because as you know, he's got a big executive producing job, content lead, as they say now, with a with a production company, and he's very busy. But I had a former CFL coach, I got to be careful how I word this, come to me and say, let's do a live stream for Friday Night Football in the CFL. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's sort of like what the Mannings are doing and Spit and Chicklets does. And I said, not interested. Don't watch it. Don't want to be part of it. But Moose goes, I'll do it. So watch for maybe Moose popping up on a live stream. I feel like it's something that would be more down his alley. And I thank that coach for the opportunity, but I just not interested. If I'm not in, you would sniff it out in a second. You would smell the fakeness of that. No doubt. Here is your sports update on this Friday. A 31-point performance from Brandon Ingram helped the Toronto Raptors return from the All-Star break with a big 101 win over the Chicago Bulls. Ingram also had 8 rebounds and 6 assists, while Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jacoby Walter each put up 14 points. R.J. Barrett added 13. Chicago's lost 7 in a row, including another loss to the Raptors 2 weeks ago in Toronto. A soggy day on the course for golfers at the Genesis Invitational. Heavy rain formed puddles at the Riviera, leading to a 3-hour stoppage. And when players returned, the conditions were more difficult with a strong cold wind and putting surfaces that were super soft and putting surfaces, tells you how much I'm into golf too, that were super soft and super quick. Canadian Taylor Pendrith finished his round before play was suspended due to darkness, posting a 69 that left him 3 strokes back of leaders Rory McIlroy and Jacob Bridgman. That is your sports update. Proudly brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. Collectors, listen up. As you see, I am one. Hockey cards, autographs, and fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. Shop ultimatefanzone.ca. All right, let's see what's popping in here. 902-518-3033. There's actually a variety of things that I have not yet got to here today, but for the benefit of those that have showed up late, talked earlier with Kevin the Medium about we're going to do a United Football League pick'em, because why not? Here's the thing. I like to keep it simple. And as far as there's not going to be any prizes, I don't think. Certainly not going to charge you to enter. You got to keep your own picks. I'm not interested in following yours, but Kevin and I will make ours every Friday for the United Football League, which kicks off on Friday, March 27th. They are opening training camps this weekend, the games are on ESPN, Fox. Like, it's kind of a big deal, which I actually had written down here. How big of a deal, how important is a TV deal for popularity? You know, I can't name one player in the league. Jeff, the Stamps fan, can name one. It's better than me. But I think, why not? Jenna in Southern California, Ken in Mississauga, they're all big UFL fans. There's not a whole hell of a lot going on. Now, having said all of that, Mike Davis will be with us next hour. Viewers really enjoyed our chat with him last Friday. He's going to be with us as much as he can on Fridays from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team. He goes, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, the top NFL storylines, we will. CFL free agency, which, by the way, that's pretty much over and dead. Not much to talk about there right now, folks, unless I've missed something. Then I said, hey, and why not the UFL? He goes, I can talk about the UFL and CFL for days. So it might be right down your alley. It is a football Friday. And for those that are not ensconced in Olympic playoff hockey, this is the place you want to be. 902-518-3033. If you have comments on that, we'll be right back with hour two right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, here we go. It's a little thing called the RP Show. If you look it up on AI, they'll call it Canada's daytime sports talk show, which, let's be honest, it is. On the Game Plus television network, and peering in our viewers from 33 states in the USA. And this hour, we welcome viewers across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Rod Pedersen, and I'll tell you something. Today is that day for a couple of reasons. It's to take you back to your school days. Remember when the teacher said, you know what, guys, I didn't do my lesson, so let's just have show and tell, or let's play tag, or whatever. We're like, ah. That's kind of like today, except I did do my lesson. I've got all the notes. But it's a dog's breakfast. It's a yard sale. We got a live audience. We're airing later in the day in prime time in Nevada. We got podcast listeners. But why do I bring all that up? Because it is the final Friday of the Olympics, and it is a football Friday. I want to keep that clear year-round. Fridays will always be for football here, and we've got a football guest coming up here in the second segment today. Our friend Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks, reigning champions of the Indoor Football League in the USA. Mike's going to be with us to talk NFL, CFL, UFL, everything, every level of football. But here we are. Canada's turning it on. For the live audience, what I see, it's 2-2, 5 minutes to go in the third period. Canada versus Finland in a semifinal at the Olympics, and it looks like Canada's going to win this thing. Please, baby hockey Jesus, you've answered all our prayers all week. Let's hope Canada wins this thing. And then later on, it's USA versus Slovakia. But I don't have a screen on because it's too distracting, which reminds me. Let me do one Olympic note of the quick six show topics, the big story, and then get into story time, which a lot of you love. Johannes Dale Skvedal of Norway was the only biathlete to hit all 20 of his targets in the 15-kilometer mass start race today and skied his way to gold. Norway's 17th gold medal of the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics, breaking the record for the most gold medals by one nation at a single Winter Olympics. Norway had set the record at the 2022 Beijing Olympics with 16 gold medals. Dale Skvedal was followed by teammate Sturla Holm Lagrad, who won silver. I think I talked about this earlier in the week, or maybe last week. Listen, I was raised, where I was from, they always made fun of the Norwegians. I don't know why. I thought it was rude. I get a lot of Norwegian friends. They are light years ahead of everybody in technology, in broadcast. I know that, and producer Corey probably knows that too, because that's what we do. And they're light years ahead of all the athletes. They just set a record with 17 gold medals at the Winter Olympics, and they're not even done yet. That's what's standing out to me. Secondly, the guy won it in the biathlon, which got me going down a rabbit hole this week of, what makes you good at the biathlon? A lot of these guys and gals are former cops. How about that? Handy with a gun. So there's that. Now, having said all of that, 902-518-3033 is the text line. Thank you, Rob in Las Vegas. I mean, God bless him. He writes in, he says, Canada's on the power play. So they got the game on the television. They got us live streaming. And I'm sitting here going, I don't understand the fad of the live stream, but you know what? I'm trying to get into it. Here's why. This morning, the U.S. people watching will know what I'm talking about here. I'm looking for the start of the Canada-Finland hockey game, and USA Network saying, well, we're starting at an hour late. Whoa. That won't do. And to be honest, this is the first time, because you know I'm the most positive guy in the world, that I would criticize anybody, because we're all trying to make a living and do a good job. But what do you mean you're not showing this live? This is BS. So I'm surfing around, and I'm going on YouTube and various streaming services, and I see that the Spit and Chiclet guys are doing a live stream, so I click on it. It's four hockey players sitting on a couch in Arizona watching the game. I'm like, that doesn't really hold my interest. If I want, I lived that life. It wasn't that entertaining when I lived it. I don't really want to relive it with people I don't know, even though I do know biz, but that's a story for another time. That's not to say I'm anti-live stream. I just don't understand it. If I want to watch a game with my friends, I'll go with my friends. It's crazy. But I'm trying to get my mind around it, because I'll tell you something. before I move on to the next point, and you're saying, hurry up, Rod, but you'll like this. Remember the reality TV era? I still think that's a thing, but it's not like it once was. Remember Celebrity Rehab and Gator Boys and whatever your favorite, not Desperate Housewives, but Housewives of Atlanta and all. That was entertaining stuff. I said to my dad once, we were sitting around. Of course, we grew up ranching, farming. That's my background for those that don't know. So I said to my dad, Dad, we should have back in the 70s and 80s put a camera on us when we were doing calves. And he goes, what do you mean? And this was our job. My job, the youngest of the three boys, was to cut the calf out of the herd in the pen, put him up the chute. My middle brother, Reed, the next oldest, would get in behind that calf and push it up the chute. He would wear a hockey can and knee pads to protect him, and a hockey girdle. If you know, you know. Push him up into the chute, and then my oldest brother, Lee, would nut him. That was his job. You want to talk about a ranch rodeo every day. And I said to my dad would sit in the truck cab and laugh because he did that work when he was young. Now it was our turn. He just sat back and supervised. I was like, Dad, we should have put a camera on that. And he goes, I don't think anybody wants to see that. Like, no. That's where you're wrong. I think they would. Everybody writing in. Arlen Bruce, Rob in Vegas, Brent in Saskatoon, 3-2 Canada, Nathan McKinnon. 35 seconds to go. Okay, I have it on my television over here. You just tell me when the game's over. And you watch, our viewership's going to go after I just finish all my stories here on reality television. So that was a thing. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be for me. By the way, our poll question today, we're already halfway through this opening segment, and Mike Davis will be with us to talk football in the next segment. Our poll question has to do with the Olympics. How are you following the Olympics? It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing, Elite Speakers Bureau, Keynote Speakers. Transform your event with a powerful keynote speaker from EMJ Marketing's Elite Speakers Bureau. Check them out at emjmarketing.com. How are you following the Olympics? TV, streaming, podcast, or other? 59% leading the poll say TV. They're following the Olympics with live TV. See, it's not dead yet. That's the key with live sports. That's the hook. 26% say streaming. 0% say podcast. And 15% say other. And now, interestingly enough, Ken Gill writes in and says, I have not had it on my TV or anything for a second. Just no interest at all. Well, I would say I heard of people like you. I've heard of people like you. All Ken is interested in is football, and specifically alternative football. So our next guest is a guy for you. Mike Davis will be joining us from Vegas, head coach and general manager of the reigning league champion Vegas Nighthawks, CFL alum. And there's a lot of things I want to get to with Mike. He texted me last night. He said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, NFL current storylines, of which there are many. Just flip on ESPN. That's all they're talking about over there because they don't have the Olympic rights. And with the United Football League, they're opening training camps this weekend. I'll be honest with you. There is something to be said about lobbyists. Okay? They're different than protesters. Not much different, but different. There are people lobbying on behalf of the United Football League that watch this show. Ken being one, Jenna in Southern California, not to mention all the people that work in the league. It's got me to the point that I think we're going to do a pick'em. Kevin the Medium was with us last hour, the guy that speaks to dead people. That's why we get along. We're going to do a pick'em pool for the United Football League. They kick off Friday, March 27th, so we got a month to get ready for it. I'm going to ask the viewers, you need to police yourselves. I'm not going to keep track of your picks, but it'll be fun. Maybe we'll do a big lunch together, or maybe we'll have a big live stream. Because nobody these days wants to actually talk to somebody else. What do we got here, guys? They're challenging the McKinnon goal. They challenged it, reviewed it, and it's a good goal. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, what's more patriotic than watching the CFL? No, I can't disagree with you there. You're 100% right, which as we move along in our Quick Six show topics, Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon is showing the Canada Games live. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Try the coconut shrimp and thank me later. Point 2 of the Quick Six show topics. The NBA is pushing new rules to cut down on tanking and keep teams trying to win. On Thursday, people familiar with the talks say NBA Commissioner Adam Silver outlined options in a call with general managers. Silver has said he wants every remedy on the table. Sources say the league considers locking in draft lottery odds by a set date. The league has fined teams for sitting healthy players, including Utah and Indiana recently. The NBA is likely to discuss it further at a Board of Governors meeting next month. I do want to get into that with Mike Davis next. Just the idea of tanking, because it goes on in every league, and I kind of sit back and say, how bad is it really? Yet you don't want teams, especially with half a season to go, openly tanking. Yeah, that's bad for everybody. But what are the remedies? I mean, with the Vegas Raiders, they were tanking. Everybody knew it. And they got the number 1 overall pick. And it feels like nobody really cared because they were trying to better themselves. And so the NBA's had fines of $100,000, $500,000. But the teams are sitting there going, if we can get a generational talent, we'll make millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars. So we'll pay the fine. How big of a problem is it? I want to talk about that with Mike. By the way, we are airing in Canada on Game Plus Television, and where they are big hockey fans. I didn't do this last hour, so I'll do it now. The junior hockey report for the Mad Greek Eatery. Prince Albert Raiders defenseman Dexon Rudolph scored the overtime winner, helping Team East and celebrity coach Drew Scott to a 5-4 victory in the WHL Prospects game Wednesday night at the Langley Event Center. You think you don't know Drew Scott, but you do. He's one half of the Property Brothers. And his team won. Apparently he's a good hockey coach. Meanwhile, it is game night at the Temple Garden Center in Moose Jaw as the Warriors welcome the first-place Prince Albert Raiders tonight. And the Warriors are on home ice Saturday night as well against the Prince George Cougars. It's a great opportunity for you to drop into the Mad Greek Eatery before or after the game and tell Johnny Utridis that you saw us talking about him on the RP show. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts or ends at the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Order online, pick up, or dine in, madgreekeatery.com. Point 4 of the Quick Six show topics. This is kind of interesting. The average viewer numbers for Super Bowl 60 increased to 125.6 million after Nielsen Ratings released their final viewer figures on Thursday for the game of February 8th. It was up 700,000 from what they initially reported. The figure of 124.9 million was first released on February 10th. Seattle's 29-13 victory over New England was aired on NBC, Peacock, Telemundo, NBC Sports Digital, and NFL Plus. That fell short of last year's total, however, of 127.7 million viewers that tuned in for Philadelphia's 40-22 victory over Kansas City last year on Fox. Can I just ask you this while we're sitting here, and maybe I'll put that to Mike Davis when he joins us next from Las Vegas. Why the dip in viewership in the Super Bowl? The reason they added the 700,000 was they did not factor in some obscure streaming service or some technical gadget that included groups of people watching. Well, that's what I read. But down is down. Even with the added 700,000, it was still less than tuned in last year by a couple of million. One thing I know about these business guys, down is down. Was it because of Bad Bunny? I don't think so. Was it because of the matchup? I think so. Kansas City, Philadelphia was sexy, man. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes and the Chiefs going after their 4th Super Bowl. What was this year? It was bad. And I never did talk about the Super Bowl with Mike Davis last week. We got into everything else. But, Mike, if you're watching now, if you're logged in, that's one thing I want to ask you. Why was the Super Bowl ratings down? Because it was near the end of the first half, I'm sitting there watching the game going, this doesn't feel like a Super Bowl. Where's Tom Brady? Drake May? Maybe eventually, but nowhere near Tom Brady now. And Sam Darnold? Good story. Not Patrick Mahomes. So I might have just answered my own question talking to myself out loud why the ratings were down for the Super Bowl. But as I say again, down is down. So it is a Football Friday here on the RP Show. When we come back, Mike Davis joins us. If you have any football-related questions, and the gentleman is sharper than the edge of town, a St. Louis guy, he can speak NFL, UFL, which we're going to, CFL, and Indoor Football League. Write us, 902-518-3033 on the text line for Western Dodge. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. 902-518-3033. We'll be right back talking ball for all with Mike Davis in Vegas next here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And of course, as always, across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus Television, streaming on YouTube, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, Done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Ole, 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 ole. It's the fun part of live television. Yes, Canada has won. Nathan McKinnon, the winner, 3-2. They have moved on to the gold medal games Sunday morning at the Olympics. And now, USA, it's up to you to do your part. Okay, Mike Davis joins us from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team on a Football Friday. Happy Friday, Mike. Listen, if you don't mind, I want to introduce you a little more to the viewers. You always told me you're from St. Louis and not the biggest hockey guy. Are you getting into it a little bit this week?
No, I'm from Virginia, but I lived in St. Louis for 10 years. And obviously when I married a Canadian and got in the CFL, it's hockey. Hockey is part of the family. So you just, and then you get recruited to work for one of the biggest hockey teams in the world. It's pretty easy to be a hockey guy.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, well, the Vegas Nighthawks under the umbrella of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Henderson Silver Knights, and all the great sports teams there in Sin City. But it is a Football Friday. And again, by the time this airs, prime time in Vegas on Friday night, let's hoping we're talking about USA beating Slovakia in a semifinal, moving on to the gold medal game. But I didn't bring you here to talk hockey. You know that, Mike. And I don't know if you were watching before the break. Super Bowl ratings, the final ratings were announced by Nielsen on Thursday, and they're down 2 million from last year. Why do you think that was?
Well, you kind of answered the question. The star power, right? Like, who were the superstars in the game? Sam Darnold, Drake May, Stephon Diggs. Like, there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there's no Brady. There's not that, even like being in San Fran, there's no Christian McCaffrey. There's no superstar or face of the NFL. So it didn't have any clout. Like, yeah, people still went and things like that because it's the Super Bowl. It's one of the biggest sporting events in the world. But so people are always going to go. But the lackluster of star power, two great teams, phenomenal football game, could have been way better. But it was boring in the first half, got exciting in the second, but it kind of came out the way I thought. But yeah, just the star power or the lack thereaf.
Yeah, and it was over with 8 minutes to go on a pick six. To be honest, I felt like it was a nightmare for the NFL, and I don't know how they would look at it, but nobody would have left San Francisco saying this was the greatest Super Bowl ever. And I apologize because I did not tell you I was going to ask you about this, but you're a smart guy. You can handle it. 2 years ago in Las Vegas, I was there, and a lot of people said that was the greatest Super Bowl ever. The weather wasn't great. It was a little chillier than I thought, but you and I were going to get together that week. It didn't happen, and I left I didn't get to see Mike. I felt like you might be a little busy as a football guy, Super Bowl week in Las Vegas. What was your week like there in Sin City?
Actually, I avoided downtown as much as I could. Literally, there's so much going on, and everybody was in town, and everybody was pulling to do different things in different directions. And, when it's not work or football, or everybody knows I'm a big horse race guy, I'm a homebody. Like, I'll go play some golf, but me, it's nice when you're a workaholic, being able to kind of just relax and decompress is nice.
That is the misnomer of people that live in Vegas. People think you're down on the strip all the time. Anybody I know goes nowhere near it unless they got to work. And I'll say on the Saturday night of Super Bowl weekend, I almost personally witnessed several fights down from traffic on the strip. I'm like, yeah, it's not somewhere that you wanted to be. But that game was great because it went to overtime with the Chiefs pulling it out against the 49ers. My last NFL question for you, Mike, is this. They announced this week NFL is going to go play in France. The 49ers are going to be playing in Mexico City this year. They're going to Australia. Cowboys are going to play in Brazil. What do you think the end game is? What's the thinking behind this from the NFL?
Well, they want to. NFL is a global brand, but they want global teams, right? Like, if you look at what happens when they put it, like, look at the games. Was it the Eagles were in Brazil last year? The stadium's packed. They go to Wembley. It's packed. Like, everywhere they go, it's the hottest ticket in town. Yes, it's for one game, right? But everything is going crazy.
You're good. You're good. So are you with me, though, Mike? Because I think they want to put teams around the world. I really do. And there's people saying you're crazy. You can see that?
100%. Look how much money it can generate. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? That is, it's all about the dollar. Like, look at the money that some of these things are going up, and it's crazy. The salary cap just went up another. God, don't quote me on this. I just saw it last week. Like another $12 million or 20 million, whatever it was. It just keeps going up and up and up, and these guys just spend more.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know if this is a Goodell push thing or if it's certain owners that want to put like a division in Europe and a division in Australia or however they do it. But I would think Goodell would like to walk away going, hey, my legacy was we made this a literal worldwide league, the first in the history of the world. And they could do it.
And it's hard, though, Rod. You think about it. All these teams that go over wherever they're going, Brazil, Germany, Spain, France, Australia, those teams after the next week have a bye week, right? Because they have to, because of the travel, the jet lag, the moving stuff back and forth. How would you do that if you don't have multiple teams across the pond, so to speak? It's hard.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You would have a European division, you would have an Australian division, you would have a South American division, an American division, and we all play a playoff to the Super Bowl wherever the God's green earth that is. North Pole, I don't know, but that's kind of where I see it going too. It's a Football Friday. Mike Davis joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks. Yes, you asked what we wanted to talk about. I feel terrible. I just threw multiple curveballs at you, but I knew you'd handle it just fine. It looks to me like the United Football League is opening training camps this weekend. Like I'm trying to not pay attention to it, but it's getting shoved in my face by their fans, by the league. And you said that you should be all over it. You're a personnel guy. What is your excitement level for their kickoff on Friday, March 27th?
I don't know if it's the excitement level, but like I know, Mike Rapoli and what he's trying to do. It'll be interesting. I'm more intrigued to see how it's going to work, right? Because nobody will tell you the exact numbers, but you've heard 2 years ago they lost 200 million. Last year they lost 180 million. Like, wealthy people don't get wealthy by losing hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So I see what they did this year. They took a lot of local faces, AJ McCarron, Ricky Prohl, Ted Ginn Jr., first-time coaches who've never coached a day in their life, and stuck them in cities where they're from, like Birmingham and St. Louis and Columbus, Ohio, and things like that, to drum up the fan base, or what they hope drums up the fan base. They had their fan fest parties the last 2 weeks, and they've done well. There's been a ton of people. That doesn't always relate to ticket sales. Like, you can get a face-to-face interaction at a fan fest. It's hard otherwise.
Well, so let me ask you this, because you said you can talk about the CFL and UFL for days, as can I. When this all came online and The Rock was involved, I was the guy saying, let's bring it together. And you remember Randy Ambrosie, the former commissioner of the CFL, famously saying, we're talking about talking with The Rock, which set off alarm bells. That was right at the start of COVID, so it just gave us all something to talk about, right? But those leagues, they're not working together. I mean, what is the relationship from what you can see between the UFL and the CFL?
I think that there is a good, from my understanding, there is a good relationship, right? Obviously, they've entered back into the window, the free agent window, for guys to move back and forth. And but people don't understand. Like, it takes a special talent to be in the NFL, and it also takes a special talent to be in the CFL. But normally those talents don't align. Sometimes they do, pass rushers, O-line, returners. But it's hard. Like, if you look at just position groups, theoretically, NFL linebackers are bigger. CFL linebackers are a little smaller and faster because they got to cover more space, right? You don't have the downhill, the big thumpers, right? The CFL, you don't have the big monster 320-pound D tackles because it's a faster game. Those guys struggle to do that. So you have some big guys up there, but how productive are the big guys? Let's be honest, right? I think it's they're missing the boat on the DB side of things. Obviously, receivers are receivers, but they kind of get overshadowed because they have the waggle, the forward motion. So the people are like, oh, unless you're just a burner, the waggle's helping you to get open. DBs, if you can cover a waggle, you can cover somebody stationary. I just think they miss out on that a little more than you would think.
Mike Davis with us from the Vegas Nighthawks, and I'll get to where the IFL fits into this in a second. But I get this question a lot, and you've been in South Florida a lot. You know, this is football territory if ever was. And what are they talking about here? Obviously, the coaching carousel and all the rest, but NIL, 5, 6, 7 million for a quarterback. A long snapper's getting 6 figures. And people are saying, how does that affect the UFLs and the CFLs? I.e., if you're making 6 figures in college, why would you go play pro for a fraction of that? What is the players? I don't know that world. I've never been in it. What are you hearing from the players? What are you guys saying about that?
Players want to play, first of all. Players want to play. Like if they think that they have the slightest bit of chance to be outside, be in the NFL, stuff like that, they want to play. Right. And I can just speak from guys that we've talked to and things like that. Like we have a guy here that made almost $2 million in NIL money in college, but he's sitting on the street, right? He was good with his money, but everybody's telling him, I need more film. I need more film. Well, there's so many players and guys they need an opportunity, you know? So when you look at it, if you make the right relationships, a lot of agents are going to push to guys where they feel comfortable. Right, like a guy, I got a phone call from Kenny Kim yesterday. Right,
oh yeah,
one of the best CFL agents in the business. Yeah, you know, and he's like, hey, I got some guys, and they need an opportunity. Well, we start camp next week. Kenny, send them to me. I'll look at anybody, right, if it can make our team better. But we're pretty solid about where we're at. But as a coach and a GM, like if you're not looking at players consistently, you're falling behind because you're one injury away from the next man up. And who is your next man up?
I'm telling you, Mike, this is exactly the way I was hoping it would go because all the ballers are writing in. Okay, Arlen Bruce writes in. He says, if I was a professional football player, I would be excited to play. NFL, CFL, USFL, IFL, even arena football is what keeps life interesting. Good luck to all the future pro football players. Eric in Vancouver says there's no UFL teams in the Western time zone. I'll try to follow it, but come on. Ken writes in. He says, UFL centralized hub makes it hard to generate local stories. Are they still doing that?
Yeah, so everybody right now is just reported into Dallas. And so how it works is they're all in Dallas. They all have their times. They're all in the same building. Everybody has their own floor. So the Dallas Renegades, let's say, are on floor 2, right? The Birmingham Stallions have floor 3. And in there is your coach's offices, your team meeting rooms, your weight area, stuff like that. And then they practice. And then the day before games, both teams get on the same airplane and they fly to the city. And they stay there the night and they play the game and then they come back to Dallas.
That doesn't seem like a long-term plan for success to me.
I mean, obviously you hear – Rapoli and everybody talking about, hey, we'd like to be in our cities full time. That's hard, right? Like, and I understand the people that are saying there's no West Coast teams. People don't want to go west, right? For whatever reason because of the time change. But they'll go from central to east, right? I don't understand but they don't want and my thought is because if they do get in your respective cities, it would be like the CFL. You would be crossing 2 time zones. Right now, you're in Dallas, you go east or you go west. But if their plan is to have everybody in their respective cities, I can see why they're trying to make it cost effective, keep it in. Hey, I want an hour here, an hour there. It's easy. You can get on a flight in Dallas and within literally 2 hours and 20 minutes, you can be anywhere in the Midwest or the East Coast.
Okay.
So it makes sense.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you explained that for me. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, writes in. He says, sounds like COVID time dystopia. Yes, it does. Mike, maybe you can settle an argument for me. Actually, I know you can. Vancouver Eric writes in and says, are there enough good players to make another competitive CFL team? Because I'm sitting here looking at CFL free agency going, We need more teams, man. It's just a merry-go-round. The players are just switching colors every year. It's not that exciting for me. We need more teams. And this era is going, there's not enough players for expansion. How would you address that?
There's a plethora of players begging to play football, right? Now, are some of the younger players ready to step up and be a starter or superstar role? Well, that's where your coaches come into play. Right, but yes, I think there's enough players to have a 10th CFL team. I think that there's the problem right now is the 1-year contracts. Right, everybody, it's a revolving door because there's no financial stability. Nobody wants to guarantee this or guarantee that, so people are going to the highest bidder. It's literally college football NIL every year in the CFL. Where can I go get the bigger dollar? Like you see some of these numbers that these young men got, like it. Crazy. Like Coulter Woodmansey gets, somebody told me $300,000, like, okay, great for him, but how long is that sustainable? Like some of these receivers getting 250, 300,000, they're worth every penny of it, but again, how long is that sustainable? Right? Is that because you want to go get the superstar, or you don't want to train and recruit somebody younger that can develop the next superstar? Like who's the next guy in line? Right? Like if you look at, when I was in the CFL, we did this study that most quarterbacks in the CFL didn't become good until they were 28 years old. Besides Davis Alexander, who's under 27 in the CFL?
Well, I mean, I'm not on the scene like I was. Yeah. You tell me.
That's it.
Trey Ford?
So he's not a starter. Right. So what happens when the Caleros is retired and VA retires and Bo Levi retires and Chad Kelly retires and Arbuckle retires, and like, what are you doing? Like, who's the crop that's going to keep the CFL game elevated at its highest level currently? Who's the big names that people are like, oh my goodness? And Montreal went out and found a gem in Davis Alexander. Right? Who's the next Davis Alexander? Are they in the CFL right now? Is it PJ Walker? Is it Jake Mayer if he gets his true opportunity? Like, who is it?
Well, you just cracked a Pandora's box, and we have less than 2 minutes to go. I'm sitting here going, how did we get here? How did we get in this position, Mike?
It's the good old boys club. Everybody loves to go out and just pick and pick and pick instead of really working and spreading the net. And there's some guys up there in the CFL that do a phenomenal job, and I'm not taking away from them, right? But then there's some people that, oh, well, this guy referred me to this guy instead of me really doing it. I'm going to just take his advice. This is a boots on the ground business, and if you're not grinding daily, you're falling behind. That's why I tip my cap to Alex and them in Hamilton. They've done what they went out and got Trevor Reed. They went out and got some new guys. Like he's not scared to go young.
When you're talking about Scott Milanovic, obviously. Well, sounds like we're just scratching the surface for next week. We continue this going. They're gonna cut us off here. We're out of time. But Mike, thanks for this. It was exactly as promised. Ball for all. Thanks for this. Enjoy the weekend, Mike, and we'll chat with you next week.
Not a problem. Thanks, Rod.
Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks of the Indoor Football League. We got going into that personnel stuff and didn't get into a bunch of the other stuff that I had planned, but that's a good thing. And the viewers are eating it up as well. Ken writes that he says maybe Reed Johnson would still be covering the UFL if there was a team in Seattle. Yeah, lots to think about. The Moose is next. We'll be talking Olympic hockey right after this.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm scrambling to get the sports update put together for the Ultimate Fan Zone. We may or may not get to it here. I don't know. We will tell you. We know this. Nathan McKinnon scored with 35.2 seconds to go, and Canada survived a scare, beating Finland 3-2 in an Olympic semifinal match. The Moose, Darren DuPont, joins us as we're sitting here live talking about Canada advancing to the gold medal game. We still don't know if USA is going to do their part. Moose, how's the ticker, man? How'd it go for you, the Olympic men's hockey semifinal?
You know what? I was in a hot yoga class as that game, like I got the game started. I had to sneak out. We had this scheduled, but I got back. I'm like, we got to get home because it's going to be the third period. And so luckily I had some exercise, so the heart's okay. But man, it was 2-0 when I went into the yoga class. I come out, we got to tie this thing at 2. My goodness, it was something. And then the power play late and able to score. What a finish. It's always stressful. It's always stressful.
Well, like we say, Canada advancing to Sunday morning's gold medal game, 8 a.m. Eastern at the Olympics. As we sit here now, we don't know. USA is going to play Slovakia Friday afternoon in a semifinal. But I'll tell you this, not really working for us, the timing of these games. You had a yoga class. I have a TV show. My God, I'll be happy when it's over. How's been your Olympic viewing experience?
You know what? You're right. And I'm a fan of it because I like different, and this should be special and unique. And, if you get into the Olympics and you wake up at weird hours to watch. So I've really liked waking up in the morning, staying in bed a little longer, grabbing my phone if I got to answer any emails, but having my coffee and watching the Olympics. I've really enjoyed that. And throughout the day a little bit, I've enjoyed having it on while I'm doing things, which has been fun. It could be worse. Like we're not watching a hockey game at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. So this, I think, is better than that. And you know what? I've seen some people complaining about Olympic times and the hockey should be in prime time. It's never in prime time. Even when it was in Vancouver, it was in the morning or the early afternoon because it's got to be before the closing ceremonies. So the gold medal game is never going to be at 7 o'clock puck drop for those of us in North America.
Well, we're working our way towards a where were you moment. 1980 Miracle on Ice. Yeah, do you believe in miracles? Even non-Olympics, but great international Canada Cups, World Cups. We're getting there for Sunday. Well, you're sitting there in Toronto. Okay, tell me what the experience is like, hockey-wise, Olympics-wise there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I honestly, I'm seeing red and white everywhere. I really am. I think people are really getting into this. It's bringing the country together, which is great. I know there's a lot of talk about where are the medals? Like, this is a far cry from what Canada was in 2010 when Vancouver hosted it. And, you know, our country's pride was at an all-time high. Now we're at a point where, you know, we're not funding athletes. We don't want to host an Olympics. We're coming apart at the seams. Like, we need something like this to bring everybody back together. And here's hoping that, you know, the women's team got something going by putting that game in overtime. I thought they were going to pull off. I would have called it a miracle the way the U.S. has played them this year. That would have been fantastic. If Canada can do it on the men's side, that'd be great too.
Quick hitter. We're already inside 2 minutes to go. But how did it go over with Mitch Marner scoring the goal that lifted Canada into the semifinal? The former Leaf.
I know. Everyone's like, why are you getting rid of this guy? I love that for Mitch, that he comes through. He scored the OT winner at the Four Nations. He set up McDavid for the winner of that whole thing. He's coming through in those big moments. I know he didn't do it with the Maple Leafs, which tells a lot of people it's not a Mitch Marner problem.
Well, and Austin Matthews has some work to do for Team USA, but I'll tell you what, it's been great. The crescendo. Congratulations to the USA for winning the women's gold medal game. That was a tremendous hockey game as well. So yeah, these Olympics are ending on a very exciting note. Whether it's good or not kind of depends on which side of the border you're on. But anyways, Moose, we have about 45 seconds with you. What's up for the weekend? Just getting ready for the gold medal game?
That's it, man. I get to, relax a little bit. We'll watch the rest of the Olympics. The curling's been fun to watch. I've enjoyed a little bit of everything. The bobsleigh is always one of my favorite events. But then, yeah, it's getting ready for the gold medal game in hockey. And I really hope it's Canada, USA.
All right. Well, by the time this airs in Nevada, we'll know. And for those watching the replay on Game Plus, they may know by then now. But as we sit here live right now, we don't know how this is all going to turn out. But as we said, at least for now, we know Canada has done its job. Moose, have a great weekend. Stay in touch. Thanks for jumping on.
You bet. You have a great weekend too.
Overtime is coming up next. We have a final sports update and viewer takeover right after this. You're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back for Overtime, everybody. For our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. Oh, I'll tell you what. With Canada going to the gold medal game. And by the way, Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in. He says, break out the Bloody Mary Sunday brunch at Mi Casa. That is Spanish for my house. See you there, Brent. 8 a.m. Won't be brunch. It'll be brekkie. That's exciting. And again, we're sitting here waiting for... as we sit here live to see if USA can finish this off and advance to the gold medal game as well. Rob in Windthorst writes in. He says, great moose droppings. Yes, that was literally a drop-in from Moose. That was a lot of fun chatting sports with Moose from Toronto on this. A sports update for our friends. Oh, by the way, I was just saying, Canada going crazy with the Olympics. Hockey has a tendency to do that in Canada. If you're really peaked up and want to take out that aggression hockey-wise, head on down to Overtime Hockey Lanes, an amusement park for hockey players. As I say, baseball has batting cages. Golf has a driving range. Why would you not have shooting lanes? Hockey does, and Overtime Hockey Lanes is the only place that does. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. If you're stopping in there, say hey to Randy and Michelle and tell them the RP Show sent you. The sports update on this Friday. Todd Monken started the process of filling out his first coaching staff with the Cleveland Browns by naming his coordinators Friday morning. Travis Switzer was named offensive coordinator. Mike Rutenberg will direct the defense, and Byron Storer will be the special teams coordinator. This is Monken's first NFL head coaching job after 11 years as an assistant. As for Switzer, he spent the previous 3 seasons as Baltimore's offensive coordinator. Monken did. Switzer was the run game coordinator in Baltimore the past 3 seasons. Here's one for the Vegas baseball fans. Foundational work on the Athletics Stadium is complete, according to the project director. And officials for the contractor and team told the Las Vegas Stadium Authority they remain on target to open before the 2028 MLB season. While construction takes place on the Vegas Strip, the A's are about to play the second of 3 scheduled seasons at a AAA park in West Sacramento, California. They played their previous 57 seasons in Oakland, California. I got to say, if Vintage Sasko is writing in, speaking of baseball and MLB, you wrote in here yesterday and asked if I was going to be taking in the World Baseball Classic. I didn't even know it was on here. So I did a little digging after the show. Oh, it's at Lone Depot Park, the home of the Marlins. Yeah, no. I don't have a great deal of interest to go watch Nicaragua play Israel in the World Baseball Classic. I'm sure a lot of people do. Not me. If anything, I'll be taking in MLB preseason, but probably not even that. I'm not quite done yet with the sports update. The NCAA won't discuss expanding the men's and women's basketball tournaments until after this year's version of March Madness finishes. That's what NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt told a group of reporters attending an NCAA event this week in Indianapolis. There has been talk for the past few months that the NCAA could expand the tournament field to 72 or 76 starting in 2027. NCAA President Charlie Baker said last year that adding teams could add value to the tournament, which, let's be honest, they're going that way. But maybe they won't, because as we learned, the college football playoff isn't expanding for 2026. So maybe college basketball won't either, but be ready for March Madness. It's literally right around the corner. That is the sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Dress like a fan, not a spectator, at Ultimate Fan Zone. Well, for me, this is one big woosah. We got through it. Very exciting day, sports-wise. Something about this Team Canada and us all work for it, sweat for it. None more than themselves. And when they were down 2-0, I put on our Facebook, which you should go give us a follow on Facebook at The Rod Pedersen Show. I said, they need Bedard. That was when they were down 2-0. And I put it on Twitter as well. You can follow at Rod Pedersen. Of course, Canada comes back and wins without Bedard. And I'm getting summarily nailed against a wall for that. But I'm a big fan of the young Chicago Blackhawks stud. And there's a longer story there, why he's not there, that I prefer not to get into. Nothing nefarious. The narrative is that he turned down Canada last year for the World Hockey Championships, so he would not be asked to play or was not invited to the Olympics. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just the narrative, as our friend Jersey Jim likes to say. I hate the narrative. That's that whole concept of perception's reality, and I don't believe perception's reality. I believe reality's reality. But I've been around this international game a lot and Hockey Canada, and I'll tell you what, if it was true or if it's not true, that narrative, you ain't never going to know. You're never going to know unless you're inside the annals of the meetings, which we're not. By the way, you can vote on our poll as well throughout the weekend, or actually for the next 24 hours. It's on Twitter. How are you following the Olympics? Is we work our way to Sunday's gold medal game, and then the closing ceremonies after that. It's for EMJ Marketing. How are you following the Olympics? TV, streaming, podcast, or other? The results are kind of interesting to me. 59% say they're following on live TV. 28% say they're following on streaming. 0% saying podcast, which tells me they're not coming here for Olympic coverage, which I get. And 13% say other, and I don't even know what the other would be. So have a vote on that. And we will see you back here on Monday. We'll either be celebrating or crying in our coffee. Either way, we'll be doing it all together. So a big thank you. It was a busy show today. Great job, producer Corey. Thanks to Kevin the Medium. Thank you to Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks for joining us. And the Moose, pleasing his legion of fans. Be good to yourself this weekend, everybody. Enjoy the sports. We'll see you Monday here on the RP Show.
That